Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a, what is this video even called? It's not a pass or yes or will I buy it. It's a new release, makeup releases reaction video. I'll figure out the name when it's time to edit. Now, I have done these videos in the past, but they kind of fell off because I got busy and I just wasn't able to fit them in. But honestly, y'all, these new releases that are on the market invigorated something in my spirits. I wanted to come and talk to you guys about it because I have a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings about all of the products that are coming out. I'm not going to talk about every single one, but I am going to talk about the ones that move me to have conversation. So get a snack, get a little drink. I got me a little Stubbs because I'm tired, I'm sleepy. I went to see Little Mermaid last night at 10 o'clock. It didn't finish until 12:30 in the morning, so exhausted. But if this is your first time watching me, welcome. I am Jamila. I love all things beauty, I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fam. Okay, so I'm gonna go through some of the popular accounts, makeup on my radar, trend mood, all that fun jazz. I will insert pictures and I'm just gonna chat about how I feel about these releases, tell you not necessarily if I will buy it or not, maybe if I will buy it or not, but also I want to talk about what the sales might look like for these products. You guys know here on my channel I really try to focus on getting you the best prices, and 99.9% of the time it does not behoove us to buy things at release. So sometimes just waiting a little bit will get you the better deal. So I do want to talk about like my predictions for how these things will go on sale and what you can expect from the sale. All right, like I said, grab a drink, grab a snack. I'm gonna scooch over to the side so I can insert pictures and let's talk about these releases, shall we? And if you can hear some background noise, it is 93 degrees in Philadelphia. It is hot. The AC is on and struggling for dear life. I've lost power twice today, y'all. Ridiculous. The AC is on. I have a fan right next to me. Just trying to stay cool. So bear with me on the background noise. I can't help it, at least at this point, because it's too hot to function. Okay, so I'm starting off with makeup on my radar. And like I said, I'm not going to go through everything, but I will talk about the things that interest me and catch my eye. So first up, there are some new lipsticks from BK Beauty. These are Luxe lipsticks. They're going to retail for $24 each. That's pricey, no? I feel like that's expensive. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like BK is an expensive brand. I've never bought anything from them. Quite frankly, I've never felt inclined to buy anything from them. I'm not sure how I feel about the brand. Something about it gives me icky vibes, and I can't quite put my finger on it. So don't go off of my vibes and my gut, but I will say I do get some icky vibes, and so I've never purchased from the brand, never been inclined to purchase from them. I did see some swatches of these. I know Sophia C's Beauty swatched them. I'm gonna assume that Tina, aka the Fancy Face, will probably get these in PR, so she might have some thoughts on it, and I'd love to see her swatches, but I don't think I'll buy them anyway because I just don't feel great about the brand. And again, I have no reasoning behind it. It's just a gut feeling that I can't get over. The next thing is these Dior blushes that have been making their rounds. It's blush season. Everybody and their mother has a blush out. Now, these aren't new shades. This is just a new reformulated blush. First thing I want to say is that if you already have these, don't buy these just because they're reformulated. It is such a waste of money. From what I can tell, one of the biggest changes, or maybe the only change, is that they removed talc from these blushes, which great, I guess. But I was never interested in these blushes, so I definitely don't want to pick them up now. Now, Dior does not necessarily go on sale, so if it's something that you are interested in picking up, the opportunities for sale are very minimal. But you can get them during the Sephora VIB sale in the fall. I know it's a little bit of a wait, but you would be able to get them for either 10, 15, or 20% off in the fall. There is also the option, I think, to pick these up at Ulta. Ulta does carry Dior now. I don't know how many of these shades they're going to get, if they're going to get any at all, but Ulta is more, what's that word I'm looking for? Generous with their coupons, and they will often do a lot of these coupons that include prestigious brands. So if you were interested in this, I would say wait till the Ulta 20% off coupon and you can purchase it from there. But in terms of sales, Dior is not known for having any large sales whatsoever. Okay, the Nomad Okavango Safari palette. I did receive this in PR. I have a video of it up on my channel. I know it's been getting pretty mixed reviews. Personally, I like it. But I always say, listen, watch multiple people's reviews before you decide, because what works for me may not work for you, and you just have to go with the person, or I say trust the people who have a similar style, skin tone, skin concerns as yours. If you have oily skin, look for reviewers with oily skin. If you are darker complexion, so on and so forth. But I will say I like it. It's a really pretty palette. The color story is gorgeous, but it's also a neutral color story, so do you really need it? And the formula is nice. I like the Nomad formula, and I know that there are many people who just don't. So if you don't like the Nomad formula, you mightn't like this whatsoever. But if you do, and you're looking for a neutral palette, because all of their, you know, especially their recent palettes have been pretty colorful. If you wanted something that was a little bit more neutral, you might actually enjoy this one. And it's not neutral to the point where it doesn't have versatility. I found that I can still get a lot of looks out of it, so I definitely recommend it. So, Sydney Grace is doing a collab with Glitzy Fritzy. I don't know this creator, but I do believe she is over 40, which I think is phenomenal. Like, when was the last time, or have you ever seen a collab between a brand and a creator that was not like 22? No, seriously though, like, all of these creators be young and just fresh, right? I don't know what to call it, but they usually work with younger creators. I'm glad that Sydney Grace is working with an older creator. I will probably pick this up because I think it's beautiful. I love the Sydney Grace formula, and I just love the concept of them working with a creator that is, you know, on the older side. The color story isn't necessarily my cup of tea, so I might hold off until the, what's that, Christmas in July sale, and pick it up during then. But I think it is pretty. Just not my ideal color story, but definitely pretty. So the Sydney Grace palette is going to be $52. So definitely on the pricey side, but I do understand that they have to pay the creator that they're collabing with. But it is pricey. I will fully admit that. Tina's palette from Sydney Grace was pricey as well. And that's going to be available June 7th. So right around the corner. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this Anastasia palette. So Anastasia has this new palette called the Cosmos. I kind of want this, y'all. I know it's a pinky palette. It looks very similar to a lot of other palettes I have, like the new Byredo palette, like the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette, but I want this, and I don't know why. And I will say that this new revamped ABH, their formula is really nice. Their formula prior to this was already good, and they've gone ahead and improved the formula, which does make me even more interested in this. And the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is some of their lighter shades. So the two light shades, those might be an issue for me and my complexion, but whatever. They do have a deep enough shade for me. One of the issues that I had with their first one that had like that lavender one, that lavender shade, was that it wasn't dark enough for me. So this one I think I'd be able to work with. But I feel like I need a sale because, like everybody else, Anastasia prices has gone up. And this was probably going to be $55 because that's what the last ones were. I don't want to pay $55 for ABH. I really don't. I don't want to pay $55 for nobody. I would like to have brands stick in the $35 range. Maybe $39. Maybe a $42. But this $55, when things starting with fives, I'd be getting confused. I confused y'all. What is happening with these prices? Is it just me? Because I don't understand. I really don't understand. Anyways, moving along. Okay, let's talk about the Yucca palette. I'm going to call it the Yucca palette from ABH. Not ABH, Natasha. Whew. So Natasha Denona is releasing this Yucca palette that, I'm not going to lie, the first time I saw it, I got excited. I was like, okay, this is cute. But the more I see this from people who purchased it in real lighting, the less I am inclined to purchase this, because I honestly believe 5 of the mattes are not going to work for me at all. These mustardy yellow green mattes do not show up on my skin tone. And it has nothing to do with Natasha. It has nothing to do with her brand. It's just that every time I try a shade like that, it does nothing. It does not show up on me. And because I've seen videos and pictures of people with this, it looks even lighter in person in some ways. And I'm like, this is just, it's not gonna work. And her palettes are $69. So that's a hard one for me to stomach. to purchase a 15 pan eyeshadow palette where 5 of the mattes don't work, that's a third of the palette may not work for me. I don't know, y'all. That's a hard one. Do I still want to buy it? Yes. I would like to go into an Ulta store or a Sephora store and swatch it first though. I feel like this is one I need to touch and experience before I spend any money on it because it's expensive. And here's the thing, Natasha Denona, even though she does not frequently go on sale, she does have sales. Like there was the Memorial Day sale where the palettes were, not the palettes, but everything on site was either 20% off or 30% off depending on your spend. I was actually quite surprised to see Natasha do that because she has a lot less sales than some of these other brands. But I think a lot of brands are having to resort to sales because the market is oversaturated. So if you want people to purchase from you, you gotta start lowering the prices. So I do believe that this will end up on sale. Whether it's through Natasha's website or through Sephora and their VIB sale or a 20% off coupon at Ulta. So I'm happy to hold off and wait on this for one of those sales. I don't think, I thought about, okay, well you can get it and just do a review on it, but I don't think it's worth it. At least not for me. I'm not that stoked by it. The more I see it, the less I want it. And I don't want to buy products just to review it. Like I love you guys. I really do. But I don't have the cash flow to just buy products for the sake of review. I need to actually be interested and invested in it. And to be quite frank, if I'm not interested and invested in it, I think that would color my review anyway because I'm going into it knowing that I didn't want it. So this will have to be a pass for me. I'll pick it up later. It's definitely going to go on sale. This is not a limited edition palette. So if you are feeling some kind of way about spending $69, hold off, y'all. Don't feel like you have to purchase this. And given that I did get the Nomad palette and I received it in PR, I don't need that one because the color story is very similar. Now, if you were interested, and here's the comparison. The Nomad palette is $42. Natasha's palette is $69. However, they are very different formulas. So I know some people don't like Nomad. Fine, you can buy Natasha. If you like both of them and it does really come down to price for you, I would say go with the Nomad. There's also the Safari palette from Colored Rain, which finally arrived 1 year later. The world's longest pre-order. The Safari palette has a very similar color story. I did use it once. It's really nice. The formula is really beautiful. It is only 9 pans. It's only 9 shades. So slightly different, but still pretty nice. And that one is $25, so even cheaper. So if you are fine with a smaller selection of shades, but you can still get similar looks, like the greeny goldy looks, I would say check out the Safari palette. It's only 25 bucks. Bring back the $25 palettes. That's what I want. Bring them back. Bring it back, y'all. So Black Moxie Cosmetics, they released a new single eyeshadow bundle. It's only 4 shades and it's called the Dark Matter Collection. So there are 2 shimmers and 2 duochromes. It is more of a flaky texture, which I know a lot of you guys don't like, but it's really nice. I did get it in PR. I should have swatches for them up probably after this video, but I did do a little swatch video of them so you can see what they look like on my complexion and you'll get to see the texture of it. I like the Black Moxie Cosmetics formula. I think it works really well. I think it's a really nice indie brand with really good prices. Like some of their multi-chromes are like in the $10 range and typically multi-chromes start at like 15 bucks. So it's definitely on the more affordable side. Like the 2 duochromes from this palette I believe are $9.50 each, which is definitely cheaper than what we see from some of these other brands. And yeah, I like it. I think it's fine. And these are cruelty-free, vegan, and handcrafted. So I really enjoy that. Oh, plus I do have a discount code with Black Moxie Cosmetics. It is not affiliated. It's not affiliated, but you do save like 20% off. So if you wanted to get a discount on top of it, you could use my code. It's just Jamila, and it would, I believe it's just Jamila. It'll be down below, and that will save you some money as well. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of what sparked this video in the first place, is the Adept Cosmetics Seahorse palette. It's too expensive, y'all. I couldn't stomach it. Now, I have received PR from Adept in the past. I did not get this in PR. And then I was really interested in this. Let me back it up. When they started sneak peeking this palette with the little seahorses and the outer packaging, I was extremely excited. And then the palette released, And it looked like a lot of light shades, which never really enticed me because of my complexion. Those shades can look very, very icy on me. So I was like, those look a little icy. And then I saw the price. $140. Now, I have some serious like sticker shock to that price, because Adept has never released anything at that price point. So it feels very wild and out of place in my opinion. I think the most expensive thing I've seen from them is like the House of L palette and the whatever that Green Arrow palette was called, inspired palette. Like, I've seen things in the $60 range. But how do you go from $60 to $140? Like, I don't understand. And I get it, these are duochromes or special shades or multi-chromes, but I feel like it was doing too much. I couldn't bring myself to spend $140 on Adept. And it's not because I think that their formula is bad. I love their shimmers, you guys know this. It's just that it wasn't making a ton of sense. I feel like at this point, lines are getting so blurred that I don't know what's luxury. I don't know what is happening, because all of these prices are just astronomical. Like Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, those are brands that came out of the gate and set their prices at $120, $130, and I understood that. I accepted that. Adept has socialized me to $60 max. Now you're trying to tell me I have to pay $140 for a palette? And I will say that watching the demos, watching the swatches, a lot of those shades look the exact same next to each other. So not only is it super expensive, but the value decreases because now I have two shades that basically look the same, or multiple shades that look the same. I couldn't justify it, and half of these shades have no base to them. So I don't know. I can't bring myself to purchase the palette. And I will say that Adept came out of the gate offering 20% off of the palette, which means to me that they could have priced it 20% cheaper to begin with. You see what I'm saying? Like, Pat McGrath, she does this thing where when she launches a new product, she gives you 10% off, right? That's what we expect from her new launches. And I think the same thing there. If you could give me 20% off at launch, just make it 10%. Sorry, if you could give me 10% off at launch, just make it 10% cheaper to begin with. And 20% off of $140 is not chump change. It's actually a pretty decent amount of money. So if you could make it 20% off to begin with, just make it 20% cheaper. Don't price it so expensive then to give a discount code to give the illusion that you're actually saving money. Okay, you see, it's those kind of mind tricks that I'm like, what is going on? Now, will I be picking up this palette? Absolutely not. I'm not spending $140 on it. Partly because I wasn't in love with the color story and how light and how icy I feel like it would look on my skin tone. And two, I'm having a hard time with the price. Not gonna lie. Maybe I'm priced out of Adept now. Maybe. I don't know. But I wasn't expecting that at all, y'all. Because it's also the same size as the Inspired Green Arrow palette, which was about half the price of this new palette. And yes, I get it, that last palette had 5 matte shades, but you can't tell me adding 5 more special shades made that price double. It just ain't mathin' for me. It not mathin'. Anyways, let's just keep moving along. Okay, the Heather Austin and Unearthly Cosmetics collab. So it includes a palette, a blush, no, that's a highlight duo, and some like clear white gloss thing. So I'm super happy for Heather and her collab. This isn't for me. First of all, I don't like the the Unearthly formula. I've said it before, and I'm not trying to be shady or shysty. I just don't like it, you know? I don't know if they've reformulated, because I've seen a lot of other people try it and they seem to like it, and I do feel like they were playing around with their formulas trying to figure out what works. So maybe they're reformulated, and if that's the case, I would be willing to try them again. What I'm struggling with is the color story of this palette. It feels so incohesive to me. I just don't get it. I probably am just not talented enough to know how to use this palette, but I don't get it. I feel like you have, honestly, some of the most random matte colors thrown together. Pink, green, red, blue. And the blue is the darkest color, aside from this kind of matte, not matte, this black with shimmer in it, which I think is like one of those where the shimmer doesn't really do anything. So if the blue is the deepest color, do you just have a blue outer eye every time? Is that it? There's no option to create something that's a little bit more wearable or neutral in this palette. I think that's what I'm struggling with. Like, if I wanted to have a little bit of versatility, it's not there. And granted, not every palette needs to have that. So like, she made a very specific design choice that this was going to be a colorful palette. But with that, it just doesn't feel like it makes sense for me because I can't see looks with this. Like, whenever I see a palette and I'm like, I have no idea what to do with this, it's a sign for me that I don't need to buy it. Because what the hell am I going to do with it? Like, I really look at this and I just see... Excuse me. I look at this and all I see is chaos. And I know some people see this and they see looks and they can pull it together. That's just not my ministry, and I'm not as talented to be able to do that. The white clear gloss thing is actually kind of cool. That I would be interested in, but how much is that even? I don't know. The whole collection is $86. That's not bad. And the eyeshadow palette is $45. That is really not bad. You see, them is the kind of prices that I'm talking about. Give me a $45 palette. And that Unearthly palette has duochromes in it and special shades in it. So, and I'm sorry for the neck rolls, but $86 isn't bad. You get a palette, you get a highlighter duo, and then you get this lip gloss. So the lip gloss has two shades, a really dark copper shade and then this pearl shade. And I don't know if the intent is that you could mix and match to get your perfect tone. Maybe. But I'm not interested in anything from that collection. So the next new release is the Makeup by Mario blushes. Now this is supposed to be a plumping blush, which... What are you plumping? Do people just not have cheeks? Like, I don't understand how that works. Like, I already have pretty chubby cheeks, so I don't need to plump them. But what are you plumping? And how does that work? Because as I understand it, the lip plumpers all they do is irritate your lips, which make them red and make them plump. So is this just supposed to irritate your cheeks? And doesn't that bother your skin? Because that's a much wider surface area, right? And what happens if your blush application is higher, like on the cheekbones, than like the actual apples of your cheek? I'm getting real deep into the logistics of this, but I don't understand the concept of a plumping blush. And I just think it's kind of stupid. Anyways, it has a couple of shades and it's $30 each, which... I feel like that's expensive, but honestly, given what else is on the market and the prices of other things, I feel like I have to accept it as a normal price. So it's $30 and it's available now. You can buy it at Sephora. These look hella glossy, which in my mind is very greasy. Even looking at these pictures just look a little too glowy for my preference. So that's gonna be a no for me. Okay, I think these might be sold out, but I still want to talk about them. But Hourglass released these two palettes. It's the ambient lighting palettes. One is Sculpt and Set and one is Blush and Glow. Which, honestly, I was very confused by this release. They both are $85. You get 6 shades in each. And apparently for the blush one, most of the shades are in the Butterfly palette. So, like, why? Like, who asked for that? It seems pretty unnecessary. And for the bronzing one, again, most of those shades are repeat shades. I just feel like Hourglass, they come up upon this time and they're like, oh shoot, we're supposed to do a lighting palette, let's just grab shades and put it into it. Or like they have leftover shades and they're like, oh, let's create a palette, because it doesn't make sense, man. It does not make sense. I only saw this available on the Hourglass website. but I don't know if it is gonna come to Sephora or Ulta, so we'll see if it actually does show up there. Okay, speaking of expensive palettes, I wanted to talk about this one too, because this one came out around the same time as the Seahorse palette. Cleona released this Deep Sea Treasures palette. This is an 8-pan, 8 shades, and it retails for $93.50. And I'm just like, but how? Why? And yes, I fully recognize that I have Tom Ford quads that retail for $90. Granted, I don't buy them at $90, but they retail for $90. But my thing is that Tom Ford set that expectation up early. We knew from the jump that Tom Ford palettes was going to be $90. They used to be $88, now they're $90. Fine, I expect that. But when I see all of these new brands, indie brands, and even just the ABHs, the high-end brands, and what their prices are looking like now, I'm like flabbergasted. Now, I will say that these shades did interest me more than the shades in the Seahorse palette, because they looked like they had some base to it, they looked like there was more depth to it, and most importantly, there was difference to it. With the Seahorse palette, some of those shades, I was like, isn't that the same one? But with this one, they are very, very clearly different, and I think that is what stood out to me, and I was like, okay, this is at least more interesting because the shades don't exactly look like they dupe each other. That being said, though, I don't see the color story here. I really see a bunch of really nice, pretty shades that they put in an 8-pan palette. Something that you could have done if you just selected and purchased 8 individual shades. Let me do the math on this, though. $93.50 divided by 8. So with this, each shade is $11.69, which is a little bit cheaper than if you were to purchase it as singles. So I'm willing to let this one go, but I still think $93 is too expensive. Just saying. Just saying. And the thing about Cleona too that I struggle with is because it is an international brand, we pay about $20, $15 to $20 for shipping. So by the time you're done with tax and shipping, it's $120 maybe, which is a lot. It's a lot. So I don't know. I'm definitely not interested in picking that up. Okay, 2 more things I want to talk about. This dark matter stack from Melt Cosmetics. Yeah, Melt. Who asked for this? And why is there so much wasted space? Now, this is just a neutral palette. And quite frankly, Melt is not the brand that I would go to for a neutral palette. And it's not because I don't think they can do it. It's just that Melt is an extremely inconsistent brand. When it comes to neutrals, there are just so many palettes on the market like this that this wouldn't be the one that I would go to. And they have the tiny pans, which are like the ones they use in the Amor y Mariposas palette. But they have this giant palette. Like, could you not have made it smaller and bring the pans together so we didn't have all this wasted space? Like, what was the reason? Now, this is supposed to be inspired by their dark matter stack, but they added the shimmers to it. I don't think I've seen a single person purchase this or review it, so I don't know, y'all. I don't think anybody wanted this. And Melt is not a cheap brand by any means, so I'm going to assume that this is like $59. Again, pretty pricey. So, not very interested in that whatsoever. I said 2 more, but we're gonna go through a couple. Okay, so Charlotte Tilbury seems to have brought, I don't know if she brought back or this is a new one, but this is her Glowgasm palette. And this is supposed to be for deep skin tones. The way I cackled when they said deep skin tones with confidence, with their whole chest, I was like, y'all ain't shit. Like, that's not even gonna work for me because it comes with 2 blushes, 2 kind of pinky rosy blushes, a goldish kind of highlight, and then supposedly a bronzer. That bronzer could barely be a face powder for me. So the fact that they were like deep skin tones, like, get out of here. And when I tell you I had to go and check my drawer because it looked exactly like what I had, and when you are releasing a product and people aren't sure if it's new or if it's a repeat, that's a problem in itself. Now, I think it's sold out, but I am on the list. I am on the list for when it restocks because I do want to test it out and see if this really is for deep skin tones. Because the one I have definitely isn't at all. And I want to give this one a try. And I think I would be able to use at least 3 of the shades, sans the bronzer, Whereas the one that I have now, I could only use 2 of the shades. Now this is not cheap by any means. It's $75, so yeah, that. But I still am interested in trying it and seeing what it is. But I want a discount. I want a 25% off, please. So we'll have to see if I can find 25% off. Next up, I do want to talk about the Pat McGrath release. So Pat McGrath released cream blushes, which I guess it makes sense. You know, I feel like it's a little dated because I don't know if people are still on the cream blush trend. I feel like what I've been seeing releasing are all of these new powder blushes. I feel like everyone is back on the powder blush kick, but Pat released cream blushes. The thing about it is that it's called a color balm, and when I tell you it's balmy, it is greasy. I'm not about that dewy life, y'all. Dew, like even right now, I'm a little glowy, and all I see is greasy, and that is not my vibe. I don't want to be shiny. I don't want to be glowy. I want to be matte, and maybe that's a me thing. It probably is a me thing. I know everyone loves the glow, but I just see greasy. And when I watch Pat's videos on this, it just looks like greasy. All I see is like hair sticking to the side of my face, wind, pollen, dust, everything just sticking onto the side of my face. And who wants that? Nobody. Now what my clown self did do was I bought the quad that was released in it, which is a pink quad. I fully recognize my clownness. Leave me alone. But I love Pat's eyeshadow. I think she's the best eyeshadow formula out there. So I was willing to suck it up and buy it. Now, I typically don't buy Pat at release, but there was a coupon code floating around, Alicia20, and you could get 20% off. So I said, what the hell? 20% off, I'll take it. So I will probably do a first impressions video on it when I get it. It'll be an interesting one. It's 3 shades and 3 shimmer shades and 1 matte. And it's in like really light bubblegum pink packaging. So I'll review that. I caved and I bought that one. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is the only palette that actually I was excited for. And even though I'm super excited for it, actually no, I lie. 2 more palettes and then we're done. So Isam released these, I don't know, I guess it's their artistry series. Now the Isam products are extremely expensive. There's an artistry 1 palette that's an all matte palette, a 2 which is an all shimmer palette, and then they have a couple of cheek palettes. Their products are really expensive. The cheek palettes are $80. The artistry 1, which is the matte palette, is $80 I believe, but the shimmer one is $120 I believe. And I will say that it's been out for a while, and I was like, oh no, I'm not getting it, it's so expensive. But that palette had been living in my head rent-free, so I did go ahead and pick it up. I was talking to Glam Girl Chelsea about it, and one thing she said is the price, it's severely overpriced, but it's good quality. And those are the type of shimmers that I think would be great for like one and done looks. So you just plop one on the lid, use a little bit of bronzer or some brown shade and buff out the edges and you're good to go. So I caved, I bought it. I think I paid $101 or something like that, because I was able to use like the welcome coupon code, which was 10% off. So I did save a little bit of money on there, but I do think it's overpriced. But they are beautiful palettes. And the thing about Isam is that they are a pro makeup artistry brand. So they are designed for professionals. It's also the one that I see a lot of people use in terms of bridal makeup, where it's that really soft, beautiful makeup, which is what I love. I love that soft vibe that's just like effortless. So I'm interested and excited to try this new formula because I've never tried anything from Isam. And then the final thing that I want to talk about, another product that has been living in my head rent-free, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I think it's too expensive, and that is the Dose of Colors Anniversary Palette. Now, Dose of Colors turned 10. I have always loved the Dose of Colors formula, and people don't talk about it for some reason, but I really, really like it. And they released a whole collection, so it's their eyeshadow palette, a couple of lip products, and something else. But for me, screw the lip products, I just wanted the eyeshadow palette, which is a neutral eyeshadow palette. Yes, just a neutral eyeshadow palette. But I really like the Dose of Colors mattes and their shimmers. So I want to pick it up. It's $52, which, again, why is everything in the 50s? Could we not get a 39? 42. So because it's $52, I've been like hemming and hawing on actually picking it up. And the thing about it is that, one, it's a limited edition palette, which means that once it's gone, let me not say that once it's gone, because limited edition is the fakest thing I've seen. I've seen almost all limited edition products come back, with the exception of like Oda and Zai. With them, they're like, oh no, baby, we're gone. But for the most part, every other brand that I see do a limited edition collection, they either restock it or it comes back later on. Could be a year from now, a couple of years from now. So I don't want to say that once it's gone, it's never coming back, because I really don't know. That being said, it is a limited edition palette. They've said that. It's available at the Dose of Colors website, as well as on the Camera Ready Cosmetics website. So I could purchase it from Camera Ready Cosmetics and get 10% off. But I also am like, I just kind of want to wait for it to go on sale, get a bigger discount. Like, let Camera Ready send me like a 20% off coupon or a 25% off coupon, and then I can purchase it for that price. Maybe there'll be a Juneteenth sale. We'll see. But I want it, and I'm gonna get it. I just need to either suck it up and pay full price, or just take the little 10% off that Camera Ready is offering. Haven't decided which one I'm gonna go with, but I am going to pick it up. Okay. Now, let me scooch back into the middle so we can wrap up this video. So, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my thoughts on some of the new makeup releases, and the not so new ones, because I admit some of these are a little bit in the way back. But I've been watching all of these releases and having so much thoughts in my mind and wanting to share them with you all. And it just felt like it was time to bring back this series so we can talk about these new releases. I really want to hear your thoughts on these products. Like, you don't have to tell me about everything I mentioned, but if there's a specific product that you saw that you have thoughts and feelings about, please leave it down in the comments below. Because I feel like, one, makeup prices are getting out of control. Two, there's just so many releases. It is extremely overwhelming. 3, nothing feels special and exciting anymore. Like, I don't get the same tingle that I used to. Like, it's very rare that I feel that level of excitement when things come out. Everything just kind of feels overdone, overpriced, and overhyped. So that's where I'm at. Really cheerful over here. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this video. If you did, I would absolutely love if you'd give me a big thumbs up. Again, leave your comments down below on all of the products that I talked about today, or any one of the products that I talked about today. As always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Join the fam. We're going to be doing a lot more of these videos, because I think it's time we have very honest and open conversations about these releases. As always, I appreciate you guys so much more than you know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!